Imagine you are a consultant who was brought on to help a new trendy neighborhood cafe called Brewed Awakening. They brought you on because you have two skill sets. You know how to grow a marketing campaign, and you were also a chef. And they brought you on to help them with the new breakfast menu. So a consultant brought on to a company with two projects that you basically need to execute. Hello there, gorgeous individuals sitting on the other side of your preferred screen. My name is Dee, and I am here to help you with anything Obsidian related. I have demo vaults that you can purchase, like the one that you'll see in today's video, which you can support me with by buying it, and then you'll have this setup ready to go instead of you having to pause and write down the code and set up everything and go through weeks of frustration to get everything working the way that you want to. Now, for those that's interested, I also have consulting services where I help everybody from students to white-collar workers to CEOs, helping them set up their own knowledge management system. There's also a personal knowledge management course that I'm bringing out, which is intended to answer all the questions related to Obsidian and BKM. Theories that I've built over the years and also the technical setups to understand how this whole system comes together. So if you're interested, head over to the website, see where you can explore your brain just a little bit more. How do we start? First day on the job. Now let's imagine you start working on the 9th of June. It's a Monday, your first day in the office, and you want to start setting everything up. You want to start setting up your projects. You want to start setting up your meetings, the people that you'll engage with, the sub-projects. You want to start building your system, the system that will help you retrieve information again in the future, a system that would help you stay organized. So let's say at 8 a.m. you go into the office. First things first, we go to our daily note in the calendar. We click on the day that we're currently on, and now we want to start building out the projects. So what is the project? The project is consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. So we create a new project, and I like to use icons in order to make it a little bit more visually clear as to what this note is about. So typically projects, the main project would be red for me, and sub-projects would be green, and meetings or work sessions will be orange. So I choose the red book, but you can choose whatever icon you deem fit. And we'll say this is a project, and we'll call it Consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. And we say that this is the first day on the job. The first things first, let's create the project. Let's close up the side panels. And because this is a project, we are going to use the project template. So you can see there's a couple of metadata that we can start filling in. This is the parent project, so it won't have an up. So you can think of up as, does this page belong to another project or page or homepage? And I would say no, it doesn't, because it is the parent project. So we can leave that empty. Related, if there's similar projects, so let's say you have consulting at another type of cafe, you might want to put that related project here because they somehow are siblings of each other. Aliases, if you want to give a shorter name. Tags, we can say that this is on cafe. You can say this is on consulting. And let's keep it at that. And then the summary. The summary is going to be a new consulting gig at Brewed Cafe. So for related, we might want to put the cafe itself, Brewed Awakening Cafe, because that is the actual note that would represent the building or the institution of Brewed Cafe. So it's different from the project. This is the company itself, and this is the project related to that company. So now we can already see there's some things that's being populated. In our project page, if we close down the properties at the top, you can see that we have a couple of headings. We have logs and sprints. And these are just logs that would typically be pulled in from either your daily note. As you can see, we already have one log that's being pulled in here. And how it's being pulled in, we hijack the tasks functionality. So in Obsidian, if you want to create a task, you have something like this. This is a task, and you can click and unclick it. And you can check or uncheck it. But this is quite useful functionality. And if we put a task hashtag there, we can specify a specific task for this project that we are currently talking about. And if we go to this tasks and questions section in this project, it will pop up here as a task. We can check and we can uncheck it if it's not closed yet. So you can see that we're using the tasks functionality in Obsidian in order to send a task to that specific page that we highlighted. But we don't want to just limit the tasks functionality to only bring back tasks. No, we want to use it for bringing back breadcrumb trails. So if we go to the logs, we can see that, oh, this is how we finished a project. I like to see from the start to the end of a project what exactly happened. And in this log pages, this logs or sprints, it's any effort that you do towards finishing this project. And from start to finish, wouldn't it be nice to see, oh, on this day I had a meeting. On this day I had a little bit of a work session with myself in order to progress part of this project. I want to see every time I mention this project. And it's almost like having a bird's eye view and seeing from start to finish what happened in order to check off this project. So that's why if we take this out, we use the tasks functionality, and you can see that we put a little dot in the middle, that if we go to reading mode, it looks a little bit different to the typical task. It has this little dot in the middle, which just signifies that it's a log, but the functionality remains exactly the same. We also have sub-projects. And let's fill in a couple of sub-projects here. So let's say we will have two sub-projects. We'll have project marketing campaign for Brood Awakening. And what I like to do is I like to use a visual indicator that this is a sub-project of a parent project. Now you can just use the red icon and you'll be able to see the sub-projects listed. But if you want to make the visual distinction, this is the main project and then this is a sub-project, I'll say by all means use this color coding. And we have another project called Project New Breakfast Menu 2025 at Brood Awakening. So let us write it out. Project New Breakfast Menu 2025 Brood Cafe. And we'll give it the same icon. And now we have two sub-projects. You can see it's a little bit grayed out. And that's because we haven't actually created those pages yet. And when you go to sub-projects, it's not showing up here yet because we need to create those pages and specify something in the properties, the metadata at the top, that it has an up that needs to be sent somewhere. So let's create those two projects. In order to create a project, we use the project template. And here we can see the up, the parent. Does this page belong to a parent or an up project or note? And yes, it does. It belongs to Project Consulting at Brood Awakening Cafe. Now if we click away, we can see that this pops up in the sub-projects page. Wonderful. Let's see if we can fill in anything else. So let's say this is on marketing, on cafe, on consulting. And generally we just fill in the tags, the on tags, to give us more context. So 5 years down the line, you might look for a project that was on marketing. And you can write a DataV query that just looks for type project or on marketing. They're both combined, type project and on marketing. But generally, this is just for context, for future findability. The summary. This is a marketing campaign running for Brood Cafe 2025. And related, let's fill in Brood Cafe as well. And here we have the same thing. We have logs and sprints, sub-projects, meetings, child notes, related notes, tasks and questions and such. So you can see that in logs or sprints, this guy does not get populated. So if you want this log, this breadcrumb to appear here as well as the parent project, you need to put it in the first line. Any sub-bullet points won't get triggered to get sent somewhere. So you need to specify where this entire log needs to be sent to in the first line. So for instance, if I put this here, created the following sub-projects. And we move this one there as well. We can see that it's being populated on logs and sprints. So we might want to do that. So let's keep it like that. And sub-projects, we're not really going to have sub-projects. Meetings will pop up here, child notes, related notes, tasks and questions, search. Let's create the second page as well, the second project. And that is the new breakfast menu 2025 Brewed Cafe. Let's do exactly the same. We use the project template. We need to specify the parent of this project. And the parent is project consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. So we're going to fill it in. Project consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. The related Brewed Awakening Cafe tags on food, on consulting, on cafe consulting. Summary: a project related to Brewed Awakening to develop a new breakfast menu. And again, we have exactly the same thing. We have logs, we have sub-projects, meetings, child notes, related notes, tasks, and questions. And this is where we can search for something. So let's say we know that we created in a log the word first. So first day on the job. We can just search for first, and all the logs with the thing that you're searching for will pop up. Now we've created our main project and our two sub-projects. So let's all move them into one view. Now let's say at 10 a.m. we have a meeting where we are meeting the owners. And this is going to be our first meeting that's related to project consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. And let's say that this meeting is specifically related to the marketing campaign. So what we do, we say log sprint, for instance, just to show that you're doing an effort. Or you can say log meeting because there's going to be a meeting. So you're just highlighting for the breadcrumb trail, for this breadcrumb trail, that, oh, what is following is on that day I had a meeting. And this is just for the breadcrumb trail, the logs for sprints. And we say log meeting related to what project? Well, project consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe. And more specifically, the sub-project. And this was a meeting related to the campaign. Now we fill in the meeting that we'll have with the two owners, the two co-owners. So as always, we fill in the date in the year, month, day format. And that just helps with the meetings being ordered descending order based off of the node name, which is in this format. For meetings, I like to use the orange book to signify this either work session or meeting. And I would like to say that this is the first meeting with the owners regarding marketing campaign. We're currently on the home node, on the 9th of June. Now we're going to deviate away from our main storyline for the day, which is indicated by these timestamps and the different logs that we send to different places. So we're going to deviate away to create the first meeting. And let's just move everything to this side, the projects and the sub-projects. And we're going to use the meeting template. As always, we need to fill in the properties at the top. So for this first meeting regarding marketing campaign, we need to ask ourselves, where do we want to send it to? Do we want to send it to the main project, which has two sub-projects? Or do we just want to send it to the sub-project and we don't want it to appear here? Now, that is a question you need to answer for yourself. Would you want to see all the meetings related to all the sub-projects that you have? Because for some of us, there might be a lot of projects that pops up here. And do we really want to see when we come to this home page, essentially, for consulting at Brewed Cafe? with, let's say, 20 sub-projects? Do we want to see all the meetings here? Or do we want to be more specific and say, no, we only want to see the meetings related to that sub-projects themselves? Or you can do both. So for the first example, let's do both. We want to send to both the main project as well as the sub-project meeting. How do we do that? Well, we use the up as well. What project does this meeting belong to? Well, that's easy. If you want to send to both, we can send it to the main project, Consulting a Brood Awakening Cafe, and we give it a couple of seconds and it appears here in the meetings. But let's say it's definitely belonging to the marketing campaign project as well. So that's why we fill in the marketing project as well. And if you give it a couple of seconds, it pops up here as well. Related, this might be related meetings. So let's say you have the second meeting with the owners regarding the marketing campaign. You might want to put it here just for ease of navigation. Participants, let's fill in the participants. Meeting notes, a meeting where we met the co-owners, and the co-owners are Amy, Brood Awakening owner. And again, I just like to use a little bit of an icon to visually show me what type of note this is. And if you go to your icons library, I think this is the silhouette. So this bad boy right here, I feel that that is visually indicating to me that this is a people note. And we also have Bob, the co-owner. So we create Bob, the co-owner. So both of these people, they need to be indicated under the participant. So let's fill in Amy and let's fill in Bob. For tags, this is on marketing again. This is on cafe consulting, for instance. Summary, first meeting with the co-owners of Brood Awakening. And we can say the related could be Brood Awakening Cafe. So you can see that Brood Awakening, it could be a related field for everything we do related to Brood Cafe. There's also something that is subjective to you. Do you want to tie all of these meetings to the cafe itself? Then you'll put it under the related. So let's quickly check. Does everything make sense so far? On our daily note, we created the project. So this was the first step we have created in order to finish the projects that we involved in. We created the main project and we created the sub-projects. And now we want to populate the main project and the sub-projects. And we can really see it's being populated. Well, if we go back to the daily note, at 10 a.m. we had our first meeting related to the main project and one of the sub-projects. And then we created a meeting note. We deviated away from our daily note in order to create the main project, the sub-projects, and the meeting note. And for our main project, we can see that the sub-projects are being populated correctly, the meetings are being pulled in correctly, as well as for our marketing sub-project, we can see the meetings is also being pulled in correctly. For our new breakfast menu, we have the logs and sprints where we created this note. And for the meetings, we can see that there's nothing being filled in because we haven't had any meetings or work sessions related to this project. So let's carry on with our meeting. From here, you'll deviate even further away to go and create this Amy Brood and Bob Brood Awakening owner. So we click on it, and what template will we use? We'll use the people template. As always, we can fill in some metadata at the top. Birthday related. I'm going to say that Amy is related to Bob and related to Brood Awakening Cafe. And we can give a summary. The co-owner of Brood Awakening Cafe. And here we can see the last time we've contacted this person. So we had a meeting today. That's why it says 0 days ago. We can see the logs. We have no logs yet. And we can see the meetings that Amy was involved in. We also have open tasks and questions. So let's say at the end of this meeting, we have a couple of tasks for ourselves. And we say that this is a task for Amy to send through her Pinterest board for ideas. So this is a task that Amy still needs to give you. So if we give it a little bit of time, we can see that this task is being pulled through to Amy's page. So you have multiple ways to go and retrieve these tasks. This task was also for a specific project, and this was for the marketing campaign. So before we fill in the project that this task needs to be sent to, let's go look at the marketing campaign tasks and questions. We can see there's nothing here yet. But as soon as we fill in the marketing campaign, this task is also sent to the open tasks under our project marketing campaign for Brood Awakening. You can see this task is being sent to multiple places, but it only gets sent if we specify where it needs to be sent to. So the task is important and where we want to send it to, the project and that specific person. For the log, we don't have any information yet. So let's say in this meeting, we want to log some information because this is our first meeting with Amy and Bob. And because we are humans and we are social creatures, there's always some exchange of information. What a person is like, what things they like, what hobbies they have, their interest. And those are things that you might want to capture for future use. Let's say Amy, if we put it into log format, the task format, if you will, and we can specify that Amy has the following interests. Let's say she is really into snowboarding. She grew up in the south of France. She likes yoga. Now we can see that this information is being sent to her log. We can see where it came from, and we can see the information about it. And let's say we want to go one step further, and we have a gift idea. A gift idea came to mind. And we say on gift idea, and we can specify a yoga mat. So let's say a yoga mat that is produced in South Africa that she might like, which I can buy next time I go to South Africa. And when you specify this gift idea to who does this gift idea relate to? Well, again, it relates to Amy Brood Awakening. So now that will pop up here as well on gift idea. And the beauty of this is, let's say you have a long-standing relationship with Amy. You've known Amy for 10 years and it's coming up to her birthday. And you want to see all the gift ideas that you've had over time because you want to gift her a gift. Well, that's where the search functionality comes in handy, where you can search for on gift idea and all the notes related to Amy with this in the text, the main text at the top would get populated here. But if we take it out, you can see that everything disappears because you're not searching for anything. You can also search for a present icon, and that would also work, where you can retrieve all logs or notes that Amy was a part of with this icon. So that's quite powerful. Think about relationship management in this context, where whenever you have a idea or thoughts about somebody, you can just quickly log it, and you can just go to their page whenever you want to retrieve some information about them. So to summarize again with Amy, we can see the last time we contacted, we can see all the logs related to Amy, and these logs can be logged anywhere in your Obsidian setup. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be on your daily notes. So let's say on your daily notes at 1500, you had another gift idea for Amy. And let's just specify a gift idea on gift idea for Amy related to a specific salted chocolate from company Chocolato. Then we have another gift idea that pops up here. So now we have two gift ideas for Amy, and this one was captured on our daily note. We're going to sidetrack away from Amy to quickly create her co-owner, Bob, and we're going to do exactly the same. So let's just move Amy next to Bob, and we're going to use the people template. Related is Amy Brood and the Brood Awakening Cafe. Summary, co-owner of Brood Awakening Cafe. You can give any other details. You can see that there's logs as well. So here we haven't put this into the right format. This is just a bullet, so we want to change it to a task or log format. And here we can say some information about Bob. Bob is a wrestling enthusiast, and he likes cooking. He also creates his own kitchen knives. Now we have our first log for Bob. We also have the meetings that Bob is involved in. We have related notes that pops up here because we specified, oh, Amy is related to this person. Tasks and questions will pop up here, and we have the search functionality as well. So to quickly summarize, again, we started with our daily note. We created the projects, the sub-projects. At 10, we had our first meeting with the co-owners. That's when we created our meeting note. And this is the note that we're currently on here. In the meeting note, we specified which projects this meeting belongs to. And we noted this is a meeting because we have the type meeting tag. And this meeting then gets sent to the different ups that we specified, the parents that we specified. And it's looking for where there's meetings with an up of this project, and it has the type meeting. So that's why this first meeting with the co-owners are sent to the main project page with the up and the sub-project. We then also created Amy and Bob. So Amy and Bob created, and if we click on them, we can see that we have Amy and Bob. We can see all the details regarding Amy and Bob. So if we go to Amy, we have all the information that we need. We have tasks and questions. So this is a wonderfully simplistic setup. It would take you 2 to 3 times going through this process in order to get used to it. But once you are used to it, you will never forget any information ever again. The only thing you need to know is you always need to create projects, the specific sub-projects, tie them up together, link them correctly using the metadata, and also just get used to the logs in order to always put a little breadcrumb trail for yourself on the daily note every single time when you make an effort towards a project. We then create meetings, and from the meetings we have information, we have people that we created, new people that we meet, and it was created directly from our meeting notes. And then you might want to add some details here in your daily notes again after the meeting. But let's say we have some marketing related notes. We want to use Instagram, not LinkedIn. We want to use Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So there's a task for myself that I want to possibly research what will have to go into creating these different social media platforms. So let's say a task for myself, a task for D, or your name, to create the Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok channels. And this is related to project, and I'm just going to send it to the sub-project, which is the marketing campaign. So we can again choose to send this task to the main project, so tasks and questions, by specifying the main project again, like that, and it will get populated here for our main project. But I don't necessarily want to see all the tasks for all my sub-projects here. I just want to go into the sub-projects themselves. So if we go to the sub-project and we go to the tasks and questions, we can open up the open, and here we have all the tasks related to this sub-project. And that is pretty much the project management setup. I'm using the coffee cafe example to simplify it a little bit and to create an interesting story. But if you are a white-collar worker, working at a bank, or working for any other company, this is the same process that you'll follow. You'll set up a main project, you'll set up the related sub-projects. From your daily note, you'll create your meetings, where you have your meetings. From the meetings, you'll capture any information that you deem necessary. You'll create tasks and questions. You'll create the people that was part of the meetings. And all of this gets tied back up to the projects. So this is the beauty of Obsidian. It ties everything together. The more notes you have, the more organized you become, the more organized information becomes. You'll never lose information again. And 5 years down the line, if you have a similar project to this Consulting at Brewed Awakening Cafe, let's say you are consulting for another cafe, you can use this as a blueprint in order to finish the next cafe consulting that you are doing for marketing or for the breakfast menu 2025, 2026, 2027. You don't need to redo work, and that's the beauty of it. So we have log sprints, sub-projects, meetings, child notes. Child notes is any notes with the up field. We have related notes, any notes that have the related field. So let's say Bob, Awakening owner. The related note is also this main project, not that one. Let's use project. You can see that on the related notes, Bob is going to appear here. Task and questions, and then we have the search functionality as well. So that's a quick rundown of how to use project management in Obsidian. A nice little tip that if you're working on projects quite a bit, you might want to have a place to quickly view the projects that you are currently working on. And if we just move everything here to one panel, you can go to the Project Consulting at Brewed Cafe, right click, can bookmark this, and you can create a title, but let's just keep it as the same title. You can also create a group, but let's just keep it as the page itself. And then we have our folder structure, we have our search, and here at the top we have our ribbon. And then you can pin these notes, these projects that you always using from day to day, so you don't need to go look for them. Because the normal way of looking for a note when you've closed it down is to go to your command palette and open up a new note and then search for Project Awakening Cafe and then clicking it. But if you are using these notes and these projects often, you might want to just right click and click on bookmark. So here we have all our bookmarks that we are going to use a lot over the next coming weeks.